Yeah, he stopped somebody from blowing up the X-77. That somebody happened to be me. One, two, three.
Oh, I think I have no luck for these mics.
Too excited.
Yeah.
At least we've got one clip for social media already.
Yeah.
3 seconds in.
Man versus Mike.
This is much handier with the earphones. I can actually not
Compose yourself. I feel your head kind of gets a little
Condensed.
compressed.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Shall I
episode
start?
3.
Well, 2. Episode 2, take 2.
We're not gonna. We're still going to publish the Cars one, aren't we? In some form.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll call it. We'll call it 3.
Really set the bar. Callum Slavin, everybody. Man, the myth, the legend. I went to school with Kaz.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Kaz was in my year at school, so he lived down the street from me. So I've had some good times with Kaz, but I know that he's an eclectic, shall we say?
Yes.
Never
Okay,
tempted for a
character.
little Kaz and Chris band compilation.
Ooh.
I think I wouldn't be opposed to it. I've always just been. We have spoke about it before.
Mhm.
I've always either been in like 5 bands at that one time, and commitment. We're saying
Yeah.
is a struggle now that work. Obviously, when we were younger, everything is easier.
Now you've got to be an adult.
Yes, and things need to get paid for. Things that I probably don't or should pay for. But yes, they're all there in a nice little pile of. Stop calling me.
You hear that, Kaz? So we've got a wee intro written out by ChatGPT
Okay,
instead of having our own formal intro.
right.
What we do is we get the guest to read it out in their best TV presenter voice. Put them on the spot a bit. I'm sorry, but
No, that's cool. What channel? What presenter am I going?
West FM.
Howdy,
maybe?
y'all. We're going
Yeah.
for yeah.
Might be difficult to get Chris to do Scots.
Might be funny.
Let's see what he's got.
I don't know. That's. Are we,
Pierce Brosnan.
Chris, it's forced fun. And this is what we like.
yeah. I can't even remember what Pierce Brosnan sounds like these days.
Scottish.
Pierce
No,
Brosnan.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
As
Sorry.
you say, yeah, Pierce Brosnan is definitely Irish.
That mic to the head has done that.
yeah. Sean Connery, a bunch of steel.
There you go.
I don't think I can do the whole thing with it. So I'm gonna be me. So am I looking at a camera, right, or am I?
Wherever you want.
Yeah, let's do it.
Welcome to Portrait and a Podcast. Oh wait, that's not an A. Welcome to Portrait and Podcast, where we exploit guests for our own vain pleasure. We snap some pictures of them, then grill them with invasive questions. I thought this said desirable questions.
I'm printing out next time.
Yeah.
Everyone has an issue with my writing.
Yeah.
I really tried to do it.
All while pretending to care about their lives. So sit back, relax, and join us, hoping they say something controversial so we go viral.
Thank you.
Or get cancelled and don't have to give up a Wednesday evening again.
Yeah. So that was like our first attempt at a podcast like feature. We'll do like a wee chat GPT intro.
Yeah.
Kind of.
No,
It's kind of stinking sometimes.
I mean, it makes sense. Like it's direct. It shows that you guys really just want to ruin people's lives,
Mhm.
including your own.
The prompt.
So I'm there. I'm here.
The prompt was do an intro for the podcast. We take photos of them, make it obnoxious, and we don't really care. And that's what it came up with.
Welcome to Portrait and Podcast.
And
Is that an A or is
What's
that an
the-
ampersand?
Yeah.
I can't wait till we get enough of
And
these to put it all into like a compilation of guests like not.
No, but last time I did an ampersand for Kaz and he get confused, so I purposely didn't do an ampersand. He can read and, which is the exact same A as A after it.
You do have a slightly odd way of showing your age, and I think it's worth
That's a pound sign, man.
worth it showing the camera.
Show the camera if you want. That's how keyboards have a boot.
We hope you picked that up.
So cursive.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, well, but, I mean, it's an actual topic that I've had to discuss in past because growing up in the States, where I lived anyway, like you had to write a lot of stuff. In certain classes was just cursive only, joined up writing, whatever you want to call it. Only difference is either some like a Z or a Z.
Yeah, speak properly and
Yeah.
proper soil here.
Squiggle, 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 squiggle. Yeah, that's the thing.
What were you like at school? Were you a wee fanny?
At what age?
Any age.
In the
Yes.
primary school.
Any age, 6, 7?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure starting right from the start, daycare. Pretty sure I got expelled from that. I know I got a bead stuck up my nose. How can you get expelled from daycare, he asked.
Yeah, I do. Ask.
That is one for Danny to call his wife and ask Annie, who is dealing with people of that age. They can be rather unpleasant. But I don't think... I guess following instructions was probably my
Downfall.
my downfall.
You did well with the intro.
I'd like to think I've grown up. I'd like to think it's been at least 27 years. Yeah.
What? How did you get expelled from? Are we not getting any more details?
No, that was it, bro. That's it. I'm not even. I will need to ask my mom and get back to you
Okay.
on that one. It's just something that I know.
Do it live.
And yeah, do it live. No, because this is when I try and phone and she doesn't pick up, and then you guys see how unloved I am and how sad. Yeah, for what elementary school, which you guys would be primary
Primary.
school. Yeah, probably caused some trouble. Again, I've always been, and I'm still like this today. I do things that make you happy, and it sometimes doesn't make other people happy. So
That
if you
sounds,
put that in a
like
school
it could
context,
be a lot of different situations that arise from making yourself happy at school.
yeah, yeah.
Expulsion makes sense.
Yeah,
Well,
especially I mean if you're doing that in like nursery.
He gets expelled from daycare and he was 17.
I didn't own a belt until I was about 13. So
there a
my
significance
pants
to
were
that
just at my
comment?
ankles
Oh, okay.
all the time. There's no truth to that statement.
Allegedly self-scanted until he was 13.
Am I going through all of the school years?
No, just
Yeah, I think because about secondary school. Well, we'd met shortly after secondary school.
when did you come to Scotland?
August 28th, 2001.
So what age were you?
12ish.
12, right.
12ish.
How-
I'm 33 now.
How did you find? Where in Cali were you?
Riverside, California, but I actually grew up in Oklahoma, just outside Oklahoma City, a town called Moore.
What's that like compared to air?
Less water, a little more dry, and tornadoes. That was the thing growing up, tornadoes. So I found funny about so obviously recently everybody had the phone thing, everyone's phone went off.
That scared me to death. I had no idea that was going to happen.
See, yeah, that was some reactions like that. Some other people, some people were flipping out. Just
I got back to the car, I'd been out fishing, and I literally pulled my phone out of my jacket pocket, and it went berserk. And I just saw emergency services on the screen, and I thought, my phone's made a call to the emergency. I'm looking for helicopters coming in or something like that. And then
man overboard.
Funnily enough, I was watching a podcast, these American guys, or Rick Glassman, and he got the exact same noise, and he's like, "Oh, emergency service, flood," and just shut it off. So I was like, "Oh yeah, that's coming in Scotland, isn't it?" It's fine. But mine was like 3 minutes after Amanda, who I live with. And if it was something serious and she's like fucked off, and I'm like sitting left behind for 3 minutes.
Yeah, they said 3 o'clock, but mine went off at 2:59.
All right, I was like 3:05. You didn't get one at all. What network you on?
He didn't even get a happy birthday for his 30th birthday. So
obviously the government values different
Sorry,
people
bro.
to different levels. Yeah, I heard about Freeze Not. Yeah.
People on 3 never got it. What are you?
EE.
I'm 02, so a wee bit late.
Oh, too.
This is riveting. So,
So why I brought it up was on the tornadoes thing, because we had the emergency broadcast system, which is the big sirens would go off and they would test it. I don't know how often, but often enough. and it'd just be huge air raid sirens just to say there's a twister coming.
Did you ever have like a huge one or whatever when you were living there and you had to
Yes,
hunker
yes.
down?
A couple times, and you can look it up. I might get my dates a little bit off. I think it was like start of May. What was it called? The start of May. In 1998, there was something like 57 tornadoes touched down in the state all at the same time. It's wikiable.
Did you have your pants around your ankles?
The traffic got
at
printed
that
on.
point,
Everyone's able to run.
I got the knock at the door, like, right, pants up, it's time to go.
Here's your first belt.
Yeah, so also that time in the state, like, I can't remember what the scale's called, but it goes in like Fs. So there was an F5, this is like the first time it had been recorded of that size that actually went through not too far away from me. But yeah, we had, so the housing estate I lived in was kind of like where the houses are in a line, and then our backyard, and then like a small ditch, and then the road. So the road went down, did kind of like, the road did an L shape. So went quite far down past another estate and then turned left and straight up to where my school was. My school's there. There's a trailer park on like either side. So yeah, school, trailer park, across from it, trailer park. And then everything in between the trailer park and the road was just fields. So we actually had a tornado come down and follow the road behind my house. And we're not talking like a distance, like my car's probably slightly further parked right now than it. But yeah, it stayed along the road. I've actually got pictures. Crossed over, completely decimated one of the trailer parks on one side. Didn't touch the school or the other trailer park. So yeah, tornadoes and warnings.
That's mad. I remember I was on a cruise, went on a holiday when I was like 10, and I met this wee boy and he had like a wee rat tail. It might have been like Theo Von back in the day.
Yeah.
His name was Kyle. And he was like, immediately just started telling me all these like wild stories. And he's like, oh yeah, me and my family, we were in a hurricane or tornado, but because we were in the eye of the, we were safe
storm,
and we survived. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then met his dad and he like backed it up.
Mm-hmm.
Mad. Little
So
rat tail.
maybe they were both like just both lying.
Yeah,
The same
maybe.
story.
It's like, I've got this wee fat Scottish boy who believes we're in a hurricane. Just go along with that. Let's just bask in this silence.
So last night I was unable to come along for the photo shoot.
Mm.
Do you describe the experience with Daryll and Danny as well?
Yeah, I mean,
I heard you had a couple of different, I hate to use the word, fits. You had a couple of different outfits to try on.
yeah,
I heard the hair was important too.
Yes, I contacted about wardrobe to make sure, because this thing with photography and pictures at different lights, you want to have different colors.
So what were the go-tos?
So recently I've bought a whole bunch of clothes, but I work so much that I never get to wear them. So, and Daryl and Danny can vouch, I just showed up with my new threads in the bags, ripping out.
Wrapped up.
I didn't even know if they fit or not. It's just like total gamble. Yeah, we had a good night.
Yeah.
We did got a little experimental,
There was some light painting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, just light painting.
Yeah, we were quite late with the sunset.
Apologies.
Just trying to sound sexy there.
Yeah, we're
Quite late with the sunset.
Hang on.
Hello?
Oh. Is that?
Was that on?
It's quite late on the sunset,
And
you don't even need to take the filter off.
it's okay. I brought my own.
If you just do that randomly during the podcast, and
Tornadoes.
Is this me? Is this me affected? Philosopher.
So good.
And we're back in the room.
Yeah, all good. So we were talking about fits. Yes, I had a couple of fits down at the beach. Luckily, the guys were there, and Daryl turned the light off. You know,
And do you like to be quite creative, like when it comes to clothing?
I'm solid colors, big branding. You know, like I've got a big body, so I can take a big piece.
Oh, we'll cut that and whip it.
Yeah.
I've got a big body, so I can take a big piece. Are you aware of the Scottish slang of peace?
Yes.
In America, it means gun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're packing heat.
Yeah.
If you're packing heat over here.
You've got a big piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. A huge lunch, and you're gonna need a little belly rub later.
So you're,
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
so would you consider yourself okay? We're interviewing you because you're a creative type.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. And that's interesting because for me, the creativity factor doesn't get as far as clothing. Hence, I'm sat in a grey hoodie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I like to think when it comes to the photography and
Struan, that's a total lie, man.
how
You have
the Charlie Sheen shirts.
you have like a rainbow wardrobe, and you wear like little tight denim shorts and like yellow t-shirts and vests. You care about what you wear.
Is
you
that
spend
what-
a lot of money on
Is that
like
what?
little shoes, and you do not talk out your arse because you're on a podcast.
Is
I've-
that what you drew? Is that the picture that you drew and sent me with the duck feet? Was that actually like?
I have got a pair of shorts that during lockdown I repaired, a pair of denim shorts that I repaired.
Yeah, and you do sewing.
And I
telling you
embroidered
don't
them
care.
with like some like little cartoony like bees and flowers. Some like
I appreciate that. And
symmetrical patterns.
Yeah,
Just and I did some like patching with like pink floral underneath the denim. So yeah, I'm a creative when it comes to clothing as well.
yeah,
I lied.
Fair enough.
Well, this is good growth, right? You
Yeah.
started off, I eat chicken pie and pints for breakfast, and now you're like, yeah,
But
maybe I
also-
do sew on bumblebees in my denim shorts.
And I was also chastising the pair of you for like being feminine with the things you're eating for breakfast, and actually I'm embroidering floral patterns into jeans and stuff. So
I got nothing to prove.
I take it back.
It's all about honesty here, man.
Yeah.
But clothing wise, so I think most of my style choices are kind of based like I was a skater when I was younger. Yeah, I never got very good. I could go fast and not fall on my ass. Often. But yeah, just like hard wearing clothes, dress up. I don't know. It's not a fashion show. It's
No.
it's the kind of some people are really. I like coordination. I'm down. The two-tone thing. Yeah, that's why I'm wearing black shoes with white socks and black shorts. But I'm totally okay with it.
A wee pop of colour there.
Yeah.
And you want to talk us a little bit about through what you do for your day job.
On what day?
Monday to Friday.
Monday to Friday. Well, I'd be stripping in the evenings.
We'll come to that later. It's an evening now.
So, ooh,
Feel free to.
The
it's-
tagline is big body, big piece.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's got to be, hasn't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, we've now reached 6 o'clock, the magic hour.
Get the devil's voice on.
Guys, and non-binary pals. We've now reached the magic hour.
Equally terrifying and arousing.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
all
cool.
the tripods in here just grew a fourth leg.
Oh, your tripod. So when you get tired, you use a kickstand. What were we talking about? Clothes?
Day
no,
job.
we were
Day
talking about my
job,
day
yeah.
job. Okay, well, currently, so I work in events. I work in a very kind of broad spectrum of events for corporate festivals. Currently, in the last few weeks, I've been working at Night Sky Productions, which is a new film and TV studio that's just opened. So I think they've had it for a year, a bit over. They've taken a giant warehouse and turned it into something super cool. Video wall, huge video wall, like Mandalorian spec, so it's something, and it's something that will grow further and further. But say I've been there kind of in and out along the way, helping. Like today, we were hanging. So I believe they've got Rebus, the program Rebus.
right, yeah.
They're coming in on Friday to do a driving scene. So where you can take this video wall in an L shape, sit a car in front of it, and just, a few weeks ago we had Samuel L. Jackson in Livingston do the same thing. We went, set up the wall, and then it's just him sitting in a car. Like I'd never witnessed it until that time, and actually, sat in the car, video wall playing in the back, and just like look in the back mirrors, and you're like, well, that guy's really far up my ass, isn't he? Yeah, it's so
Really
realistic.
realistic,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty crazy.
So like films and TV just come for a particular scene. You're like equipped for specialized scenes, or are you equipped for everything?
Yeah. So, well, with video wall, virtual production, I won't go too much into it because I don't know enough about it, and I don't want your listeners to give me shit. Bring it on.
Don't do it, Mum.
There's only 3 of them. And they're probably all sat in this room.
I'll force Amanda to watch it with me. Give me feedback. Tell me.
So Kaz, back on Kaz. What a guy. So the video walls with virtual production, it's pretty much like, you make the video, the scene. Say the particular driving scene that we had was just somebody driving around Edinburgh, and that's it. The car, the camera's usually, say, if you're the driver, facing out to you, so it's just getting the passing by. The ceiling we were building is purely for reflections. So the lights, the sky essentially, and then they'll have some hanging lights to do the passing by. Yeah, they'll be time coded so that it looks like the lights as you would drive,
Yeah, as
the
you're driving,
Doppler
you
effect
yeah.
thing, as you're driving through. So for the most part, that's been my current day job. Say I can change. I've mainly came from like events, sound, like say festival kind of background. Worked in the SWG3 for a good few years until lockdown hit. Obviously, lockdown hit, and then all events just disappeared.
Yeah.
Where I was a forklift driver at a chemical factory.
Nice. I was going to ask if you'd ever done any of the drive-in stand-up, or what do you call it? Yeah. Like drive-in movie theater events or drive-in stand-up comedy, or
Here or generally?
like setting them up here or wherever.
I have not. I do know that they hold one at Prestwick and
Mhm.
stuff. I do know the people who do that, but I've never been. Growing up, I went to some drive-in movies, just covering all the questions you didn't ask.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So what I liked as well, like the first couple of guests we've had on, Kieran, he did kind of like busking, and he was a musician. He writes his own stuff, and he's in like 10 bands, and he needed photos for his upcoming album, just like social media posts, Canva posts. Kaz was also releasing his album. He's like, oh, if we could get photos for that, etc. And then I was chatting to you, you're like, yeah, just social media posts, that'd be cool. I like it. But you are in like a few bands. You have been in more.
Yes, yeah. Over the years, I've played. So I play the bass mainly. I also sing. For the most part, I do both at the same time, depending on what band it is. Currently, I am in 3 bands. We got This Familiar Smile, which is a Ayrshire band, kind of alternative emo-y. Glorious Failure, which is like a super fast pop punk band, kind of Glasgow based, there and thereabouts. And then I have a good friend, Ed Hall, who lives down. He lives in Colne. We'll just call it Manchester or Blackburn, actually. Sorry. I will force him to listen to this, and
No, he's been name dropped.
yeah, he's been name dropped.
Put up his Instagram.
He is he is no, I can't even remember what it's called.
The
I was
band
gonna
name.
say no. I remember the band name. I'll get to that. But what the fuck does Ed do? He's got his own like studio. He does mixing and mastering. There you go.
Right.
There you go. So he records a lot of cool people. But phenomenal musician. About 15 years ago. The band I was in was my brother for a long time. Ska punk band, the Hostiles. We used to tour with his band, and then kept been friends for a very long time. But phenomenal guitarist and songwriter and such. So
And what's his band?
Vil.
Vil. Right, sorry, that's, yeah.
Ville. So we're currently, last year I went down and recorded all the bass tracks for it. So it's really just kind of vocals and stuff that need to get done. But I wouldn't say the debut album. He's had many kind of iterations of it. Singer songwriter, folk punk, touching on political as folk and punk.
So it's not Edgarville.
Edgarville, yes, is correct, technically correct, but it got shortened to Vil. It got shortened to Vil not too long ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just recognize folk punk because that's not a genre I was very familiar with, so it stood out. But I liked it. When you're saying you've toured with, they toured with the Hostiles.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at who else you've toured with. And the first one I saw that stood out to me anyway was Anti-Mask.
Okay. So the Anti-Mask thing, I didn't actually tour with them. I was on tour with a band called Glasgow band called Flood of Red.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these bands I've joined. I'm very very fortunate that a lot of my friends and say from growing up are all excellent musicians. So but everybody likes different stuff. So it's allowed me, like, my kind of goal in life, I'd say, is to be a session player. So in order to do that, you have to learn kind of how to play anything. If you guys call me and be like, "Can you play the bass for this?" I'll be like, "Yeah, cool." Because
Tall, dark, and bass, as you described yourself.
Dark, and bass. There you go. You've been doing your research.
This is quite impressive, Daryl.
Yeah.
So Anti-Mask was just an association.
So
with the band.
Anti-Mask. So that an Anti-Mask, for any of those who are unfamiliar, is members of the members of the Mars Volta, but at the Drive-In. And for those who aren't familiar with either of those bands, you could go and check them out. They're very large in that particular scene. So in Germany, there's a magazine called Visions Magazine, which is kind of like our Kerrang,
Mhm.
essentially. They were having, I can't remember, 20th, or it was an anniversary for them. So they had Anti-Mask headlining. I can't remember the support band. So Flood of Red were opening.
Oh, cool.
They were all people I've known for years and years, and gigs, and old friends. Their bassist left, so they needed somebody to come in, and so that was. I'm fairly confident that was actually the first gig that I played with them, and it was a huge venue in Germany.
No pressure.
Yeah, huge venue in Germany. A band with musicians I respect, and
How many people are you playing to?
I feel like that was 2, 3, 4, 5,000.
It's a significant audience.
Yeah. I can picture it, but I lost count at one point. I was like, "Oh shit! I better get back in the zone." That was one of those. So it's Cedric and Omar, at the Drive-In, and Cedric the singer, Omar the guitarist. I did actually have a moment of, I've never really been starstruck, but I've kind of been like, I'm tall, right? This guy's not very tall, and I'm like, am I just gonna oogie boogie? Trying not to scare him off. But I did have a nice moment. We were walking down, like, our dressing room was next to their dressing room, and we're walking down the corridor. Like, I'm going up, he's coming down, us Omar, and I'm looking, and like, hey man. That was it.
And then you filled your trousers up.
Yes, yeah. No, I've grown up since I'm wearing a belt right now. Okay.
You and Struan both grow in all of it. So
yeah.
was Flea not involved with Anti-Mask at some point?
Mars Volta.
Mars Volta.
Yes,
Right.
yes. So yeah, right people. Yeah, you're describing all the right people. Yeah, Flea was on Delouse in the Comatorium, I think it's called. Bleep that out if I'm wrong, because somebody's definitely gonna. Like, you're a fucking idiot. Yeah, so Flea did play on that track. Going on, so from that album, the drummer was a guy called Thomas Pridgeon. So it was really Cedric Omar, and they had like a session musicians essentially. You know, it was just a big bunch of really awesome musicians doing some really weird stuff. But the drummer, I actually accidentally took him for dinner once without realizing. So here's a segue. Here's a segue. A friend of mine. Are you guys familiar with a band called AWOL Nation? They did Sail.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I think Guitar Hero or something. I recognize them from something.
I know the song Sail,
Is
and then
Is it like an Anarchy A for the AWOL?
ooh, I'm not.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Like
I
that.
feel like that run.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think that was them as well,
Oh,
Okay.
okay, cool.
possibly. But yeah, so the support band for AWOL Nation was Itch, who's the singer of the King Blues.
Mhm.
And my friend was their tour manager. So I went to see him, and then we're standing there after the show, and he's like, "Oh, cool, man, I just need to do." And then this dude comes out of nowhere. This is at the garage in Glasgow, walking down the stairs, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm hungry." And my friend's just like, it's like, "Come on, man, I'm hungry. I gotta eat." So I'm like, "Yo, you go do your stuff, and I'll take this dude for dinner." So the noodle bar next door to the garage,
Yeah.
R.I.P. What a place! What a place! Yeah, we kind of went through all the different restaurants on the street, and then he's like, "Oh, noodle bar." I'm like, "Cool, right, cool." So we go in. I just remember. So I can remember what he had.
You seem to have got quite a good memory for like these sort of extraneous details, like
It's a
dates
blessing
and-
and a curse, my friend. It's a blessing and a curse.
This isn't exclusive. What did the AWOL Nation drummer have at the
So
noodle bar?
drummer of Itch.
Drummer Vetch. sorry.
Itch, yeah, so they were supporting AWOL Nation, but I was hoping out of one of those, you guys might know who I'm talking about. Yeah, I do what I can. I didn't bring my notebook. So yeah, we go in and we settled on having chicken, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in there and eat, like they had, they do the hot soup, right? And this soup is like hot. It's not spicy. It's like scalding.
Okay.
This urn's been on and they're
Yeah.
coming out. So I remember speak to him and like, chicken, you got some soup. Cool. We go sit at the table. And I'm like, "Yo, bro, that soup is going to be really fucking hot." He's like, nah. I'm like, I'm telling, that's like, yeah. So a couple moments pass. He opens the soup, drinks it, spills it all over the table. There's a big round table. It all, comes, and he's like, "Damn!" So once we got past that part, he's just talking to like, yeah, I say, yeah, obviously he's out on tour and stuff. I'm like, "Are you missing home or anything?" He's like, he misses his son. It's like, funny little motherfucker. And he's like, "I need to get home and open some cash some checks. I've got some envelopes sitting there and everything, and it's all nice and pleasant." Say that's dinner. We go our separate ways. I go across the Nice and Sleazy's to meet my friend, everybody else. So we're there, and I get chatting to another guy who's like in the group, and he's like, "Oh man, I can't believe Thomas is here." And when we talk about my memory and details, I did not know the dude's name. I don't even feel like he ever told me. So yeah, he's like, "I can't believe Thomas is here." I'm like, no. He's like, yeah, Thomas, drummer. I'm like, all right, cool, man. He's like, yeah, he's a drummer of the Mars Volta. I'm like, excuse me? Sorry, what?
And you had no idea, and you'd taken him out for
I
dinner.
had no idea.
You've just given his mouth third-degree burns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got it on tape. I
You
warned
warned
him,
him, yeah.
right? I warned him. I had a witness to that point as well. But yeah, and so we go. That's the Mars Volta. As close as I got to Mars Volta without say Anti-Mask.
Okay.
Those guys going full circle back to that.
If there's going to be a musician that doesn't bitch out of a hot soup, it'll probably be the drummer, right?
Yeah. Well, that actually is a nice lead into the next part of my story. So we're the opening act. There's 3 bands this, for Anti-Mask. The second band, they're big in Germany and they're same style of music, whatever. So we're opening. Come on, play the set. Everything goes well. Cool. I mean, we didn't even have much time to prepare. I think we had like 1 practice before it and everything as a full band, because at the time some of them lived in Glasgow and some of them lived in London. So we get to the end of the show and the drummer Graham, he's like kind of like hobbling along, and I'm like, "What's up, man?" And he's like, and he takes his shoe off, and we don't know if this was like somebody put it there or how it happened. He shows his shoe. There's a fucking thumbtack
Ooh.
in the bottom of his shoe, and he's played the whole set, and like he's a awesome drummer, a lot of kick work, and yeah, he's played the whole set with the thumbtack in his foot.
That sounds quite deliberate, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've always been
WWF
skeptical.
and
That foul play there.
Mick Foley.
Mick Foley, almost met him once.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, like complete accident. We were down south, stopped to get petrol. I think we were near Birmingham or something, and yeah, there was a WWE or whatever WWF event happening, and we pulled up in the van, and I seen that shirt. You know the shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the shirt. So I seen it, and I'm like, I swear to fuck, I recognize that guy. And it was, we had a van and a car. So I phoned the man himself, Steve Bruce. Shout out to Steve Bruce. For those who don't know, you should know. Yes.
That's all I know him for.
Yeah, that's all you know from Belmont. Yeah, he's one of my close friends and trombone player in the Hostiles. So I phoned him because he's like, I know exactly who you're talking, but I also don't remember who. So we go into the service station. I think my mom's there too, actually. And I'm looking, and the guy walks out, and I'm like, "Mom, do you recognize that guy?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "But who the?" And then the guy behind the cash register is just like, Mick Foley.
Did you have the devil voice?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's class. Man.
Yeah, so that's that one time of there you go.
Almost.
And actually they did an event at SWG3 where Undertaker and stuff was there. It was like
a Comic Con kind of thing, a WrestleCon.
I think it was like a stories
right.
Storytelling kind of thing. And yeah, Undertaker was getting his pictures with everybody, some of the bar staff and stuff. We were busy. I didn't bother. Kind of sad. Yeah, and then it turns out that again, WWE or whoever they're wrestling for it was actually like, no, Undertaker can't talk. Like, he's not allowed to go up and tell stories. So luckily, Mick Foley was there, and Mick Foley was on the stage talking. I'd already left at this point.
They kind of, I think they kind of just abandoned Mick Foley a wee bit for the commitment he put in, like almost killing himself on multiple occasions and breaking every bone in his body. And I think they left him and he ended up doing like stand up and lost all his weight and everything. I've never seen a stand up set. I kind of don't want to tarnish the vision I have of him in my mind, but it was a strange turn. But I might give it a watch. Same as Steve-O doing stand up. I don't want to watch that.
Have you watched his podcast at all?
Yeah, I like that. In his van. Yeah.
I've watched a few of those as well. Again, with Casey Neistat, like we were discussing earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I can't
Face
get
to
past
face.
the voice, though.
Casey's... Do it?
Steve-O.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you,
dude.
yeah, dude. Yeah, we went down a delightful tangent, and we're way past my notes. But
I just
If I can
trying
just
trying
swing
to
it
keep it
back.
rolling.
yeah, no, I liked it. So instead of toured with, right, performed on the same bill as or toured with, right, another one is Real Big Fish. Absolutely amazing ska band. I think I've probably annoyed you at Hostels gigs. I love the Hostels songs.
To play,
Play
yeah,
beer.
to play, yeah, and I'm sure we've probably done it every time just for you.
No,
just
you didn't do it.
espe-
There was one night, right?
You guys all showed up.
Yeah,
Wait,
out of the
was
blue.
it yeah, out of
It
the blue.
was,
Yeah,
I think it was one of my friends' head wedding. I think it was Alan's head wedding, and we came downstairs at, was it Sleazy's?
Yeah, yeah.
And we saw you guys there, the Hostels. We're like, oh, this is amazing! Like just out the blue, having a great time. And I think I was wrecked and said like, play fucking beer. And then you guys did the intro for it, like did it, and everyone was like, yes. And you're like, I think Josh was like, no, fuck that, and
Nah.
then just started another song. And I was like, ah. But
that's
then,
on us, man.
then the next song was good. It was good.
Real Big Fish is a cool one. So young Daniel's son, Danny Bray was there, snapping some snaps,
Oh, nice.
signing some baps. Yeah. So, well, I'll kind of. So that my brother, Joshua B, his one of his favorite bands. So I
Mhm.
think if we go for like my brother, he's 3 and a bit, 4 years older than me.
Right.
He kind of grew up like Nirvana was popular,
Mm.
grungy. That was his kind of thing. I was a pop loving choir boy. Not by nature, but I sang in choir. So
Okay.
that's when my singing career started at church.
What age were you then?
I don't about the church thing. I'm not sure.
Fairly young, presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're probably talking like
Single digits.
7, 11,
Yeah.
7 to 11. Yeah. So I loved pop stuff and everything. My mom, she used to run a bar, and there was a chef that worked there. Awesome guy named Ryan. He was huge into ska and punk and all that kind of stuff. So he kind of, I'd say, took my brother under his wing, but took him to Warped Tour down in Texas. And then so my brother came back a changed man, and it was like, right, ska and punk and everything. So going from then, and say my brother be 14, 15, 16, Real Big Fish was just like, that was the one. That's his favorite. I imagine probably still is today. He's definitely broadened his musical scope. But yeah, so he loved Real Big Fish. They would come. I think the first gig I ever went to, an actual venue, like punk live show, Real Big Fish at the Barrowlands.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember who the support was. I think it was like Pie Tasters or something. But anyway, yeah. So Real Big Fish going. My brother was at all the shows, and over the years, he began to make friends with the singer Aaron Barrett. And then say you fast forward, because this is what we're 2023 now. So this is we're talking. You haven't by any chance got
don't
that?
have any
No,
years.
so it's. I think that was 2012, 2013, 2014. Can you remember, Danny? What are you, 40? You turned 40 the other day? Count back. I've got a feeling it was like 2016. As recent as that? I don't think it was.
7 years ago.
No, I'm sure it was on the underside of well, because I still play with the Hostiles occasionally. If my brother's in need of assistance, but myself and the drummer Callum, we left a good 5 years ago.
Is this like an Oasis situation, or is it
Uh,
amicable?
There was Oasis moments,
Okay.
and I'm sure there probably always will be. But no, I mean, yeah, it was a strange time, strenuous time,
Mhm.
but I think it's worked out like for the best, kind of for everybody.
So how did the hostels start? Is it just you and your brother, or?
No, actually, so it was my brother, Callum. I think they had music class. So Callum and Josh they were 2 years above me at school. And then you had Richie Mitchell, who's the original singer. Ryan Dunlop, who's the year above me. He's the original bassist. Steve's been in the band from roughly the start.
Tony
So-
Argent, right?
Oh yeah, and Tony. Yes, absolutely. Can't leave out Tony. Tony came in playing trumpet. Yeah. So yeah, I think it started in music class. They came up with it. I kind of slowly merged because I could sing. Kind of slowly end up in the band, and then emo screamo kicked in real hard. So we're talking the early 2000s, and Richie and Ryan left to join a emo screamo band. Started an emo screamo band. At the time, so growing up, my brother's friend Doug, he was like phenomenal bassist, and he was the first one to let me try one of his bass. So I'm like, ooh, well, I like this.
Were you playing any
Pants
instruments
down.
prior to that moment?
No, just singing.
Just
Just
singing.
the singing. So my brother always played guitar, and I was singing, and then it came to Doug came over and he brought a bass, and I started just kind of playing around and messing around with it on my own kind of personal thing, and then gradually like they left, and I was like, well, I totally want to do this.
Cool.
And
So that
then
was how you got into bass as opposed to any other instrument,
uh
or do you play
That-
any others as
I play the bass. I can play guitar to a reasonable standard and I sing. I would like to play piano. I'd like to play the harp, and I'd like to play trumpet. I just love the sounds of all
Is
of
there
them.
a diverse range of instruments
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Have you seen Steel Beans that does them like all at the same time?
Uh,
Not the harp and the trumpet.
no, just a one-man band.
Yeah, he's got like his guitar and I think he has like a
I
drumstick.
think I've seen this
and
dude.
here
Yeah,
has his drums, and he's got an amazing voice as well.
yeah. I think I've came across him on the Toilet Squirrels.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the hostile thing. Go back. The Real Big Fish thing was, gradually, it just shows that if you're nice to people and you pester them enough, that sometimes things happen.
off.
And then that's how we did it. It was Hostiles opener, Newtown Kings as a thing, main support, and then Real Big Fish.
Cool.
And that was, I would say, like, not a dream come true, but it's definitely like as a ska punk
Something, yeah.
band is a
Yeah,
is a,
absolutely.
like
The
bucket
peak.
list. It's good on the CV.
That
Yeah.
with like beer and stuff. The first time I actually came across kind of like ska or ska punk, whatever you call it, and the song Beer was, I think it was the Ark.
the Ark.
Next to the
Yeah. Okay.
Citadel, and Hate Becomes a Hero, and the Hostiles were playing.
Yep.
And at the end of the Hostiles gig in the encore, I think you get people up to sing Beer, and you drag people on stage to do the hoo hoo hoo.
Yeah.
Whatever. And Nicky C was up doing it, and I was like, "This song's amazing." I was like, "These like obviously like the whole set was amazing," but I was like, "How come everyone knows this song? The Hostiles must be like huge. Everyone knows every single word." And then it was like a year
Fake it till
later.
you make it, bro.
But a year later, I watched Basketball. And
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
that's it. But yeah, you and Hate Becomes a Hero were
Yeah.
for bands around our age that we used to see, we were kind of spoiled in that age because there was a lot of mega talent, and I think the years after that, you go see a pals band, and it was a bit like, it's not as good.
Well, this is what I was meaning by like I'm fortunate to have
Mhm.
loads of excellent musician friends, say all local bands that you've known and loved for a variety of reasons. And those all for the most part, everybody still plays and everybody's still doing other stuff, which for me makes me happy because like why get so good at something and then just
Yes, a
Drop
waste
it.
of talent.
let it slip away.
Is there any musical influences out with or within the family apart from you and your brother? Like parents? So
No.
where did your brother, because it sounded like your brother was before you.
Yeah.
So how
I'm sure. I think my grandparents bought him an acoustic guitar, but or it might
so I
have
was
been
going
my
to ask, how
parents
did
with
he become so heavily involved?
That's a mighty fine question, Sean.
We'll get him on after.
And
Yeah.
does Daryl have the answer to it?
Yeah.
His talented research drinking skills.
We've got Ryan, the chef.
Yeah. So I mean, my mom, she's always been a kind of music lover. You know, I remember a lot of Metallica, the Black Album, getting rocked out. My dad, though, for sure, like he loves his music.
Mhm.
Not like my mom actually enjoys the kind of ska punk and like that more so than my dad. My dad's like old school hip hop, and I'll say the first CD he bought me was "Fat of the Land" by Prodigy.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. It was the censored version, so smack my up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of gives you. Well, you take the Metallica Black Album and you take Prodigy and go right.
Yeah.
Here's here's your sides, and then so the musical thing's always been in.
What age kind of were you when you listened to those? Albums.
That's I'd say the Prodigy one was probably like 8 or 9. Yeah,
That's
and
quite-
then that's the Metallica stuff's like way
Yeah, it's
earlier
always
on.
been there.
First-
yeah.
First CD I got for me from my mum was two. It was Queen's Greatest Hits and Madness.
Nice.
So it was like baggy trousers and like Bohemian Rhapsody and all that.
Eclectic.
Yeah.
I'd say if you guys like it's the first CDs I bought, and actually it's like I think about it, I'm like maybe my dad did that because he didn't want to listen to. Well, I take it like I loved pop.
Yeah.
Spice Girls movie came out. My dad's like, "Do you want to see that, or do you really want to see this?" I'm like, "I want to see that."
So you look at you and you don't immediately think Spice Girls, but hey.
You look closer at his tattoos. It's actually Baby Spice.
So yeah, but the first CDs I bought and was Jamiroquai.
Okay.
Deeper Underground, is it that one?
No.
No.
So that it was just before that because that
Mm.
came out like around when the Godzilla movie came out, and it is it Traveling Without Moving? It had Virtual Insanity on it,
Right.
which still to this day is one of my top 100 songs. Like
Mhm.
maybe like yeah, tasty. And the Henson Christmas CD. So that was the other one.
How
Yeah.
does that go?
Were
Were they just singing Christmas songs or did they have their own?
Yeah, I had to think about that because it's been a while.
That's fine.
It's been a while. I couldn't get past Mbop. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
not on that CD, and I know that's not on that CD.
See, when you say you were into pop when you were young, like what is that? What you're talking about? Just like
Yeah,
Pop,
like
very,
straight
very
up,
pop.
like pop, like boy bands, girl bands,
Yeah.
singing. It's-
Westlife.
I was just, I did see Westlife in concert once, but that was kind of somebody I knew got guest list. So we're like, I think I was 18 or 19. I'm like, well, I'll go see if I got Westlife. Huh? Highlight of the show. One of them made a mum joke, and it was like I would say low key, but it was the smallest of slights. But there's this whole crowd of screaming women and
Yeah.
girls and stuff, and I think one of them was like, "Nice boxers," and then the other was like, "Your mum bought me them." And I was like, "Yes!" Did nobody else hear this? Yeah, but that was more like the Spice Girls and S Club 7 and 5, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. Like they were the ones that were kind of getting pushed at that.
That was watching your now 25 album or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah,
Did you not watch wrestling as a kid?
I did, but actually
Between
with
choir practice.
with a few different things, a lot of my knowledge just came from video games. You know, so I did like watch a bit of wrestling, but WCW, NWO for the N64.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, solid. And then when I say other things of like any football knowledge I had growing up was either PES or
Mhm.
FIFA, and that's because you either had friends who played PES,
Or
had,
FIFA,
you
yeah.
know, and if you're like writing people letters because they're kicking your ass 5-0.
Yeah, the letters.
Yeah, the letters. I've written a couple. Not ashamed to admit it.
The N64 games had class songs as well.
Yes.
Was it like dig diggity diggity dog? That's the only one I remember. It's like ingrained in my brain.
I can more remember like a lot of the EA games.
Yeah.
If we take say for the stuff I like Tony Hawk's amazing soundtrack. But the EA games actually had a nice mix, even like FIFA Street.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff.
say
Yeah.
FIFA Street and some of the FIFA ones as well.
Real Big Fish
Mm.
was on a FIFA as well.
Yeah.
Kasabian back before they made it.
Hmm.
They've had some good ones.
Worst live band in my opinion.
Yeah, Kasabian.
Yeah. Only because
Is it pre or post wife beating?
I was unaware, but probably during.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe he was
During.
spending all his
That's a dark
energy,
way of putting it.
misspent energy at home.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, if you put that much effort in on stage,
Kasabian slam getting clipped. Oh, righteously.
so yeah, I think the first time I seen them was the Tea in the Park where Eminem played that year. I was working security, and yeah, it's just like I've got nothing against the music. I'm very much like
yeah.
music. I'm a believer like music is taste, like is preference. But a bad band or a bad DJ is like you don't need to know anything about them to know that somebody's in time or out of time, out
Yeah.
of tune, just way like and yeah, that was Kasabian. And then I think I've seen him again fairly recently.
I do like their most recent album, For Crying Out Loud. It was kind of like Beach Boys-y, a bit more. It was different. I really liked
So
it.
yeah, on CD and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, cool.
Just
It's
not
like
live.
more-
just
yeah,
not
just
live.
not live.
Yeah.
But for me personally, now we've been saying Kasabian so much, I'm like, am I actually thinking of the Kaiser Chiefs?
One of them.
Yeah,
So
one of them.
just before when I forgot to mention when you said you saw Real Big Fish live,
Mhm.
and it might segue into another story. I went with Toby to Real Big Fish and maybe Kaz at the Carlin Academy.
Is that one of your feet? Sorry.
No?
All right, cool. Tripod
Oh,
leg. Is
we're
that a
miles
tripod
away.
leg?
But yeah, they were absolutely amazing that night, and it was the nicest crowd ever. Because I was used to going to some other gigs and it's just full of arseholes. And then the Real Big Fish, half of them had dreadlocks, topless, absolutely stinking, but they were nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And,
yeah. It's
load-
even worse now. You can't smoke in venues.
Loads of folk were crowd surfing. And I remember Toby being like, "Oh, that's amazing!" Turned around and gets a knee to the face, and he's like almost sparked out. And all these guys are like helping him, like keeping him up. And they're just like dead nice.
That's it. It's that's the whole pick 'em up. Pick
Yeah,
it up. Pick it up.
pick him up, pick him up.
Yeah, if somebody falls down to the pit, you pick them up. There's nothing like everyone's there having a fun time. Obviously, fights happen. People get a little too aggressive and stuff, but for the most part, it is a community. Like that whole genre is about that. You know, all the different like the ravers and the hardcore scene and all that kind of stuff. You just get totally different people.
Mhm.
Real Big Fish. I mean, if we talk about the other end of the scale of live bands, like they've always like consistent. Just it's a party,
Mhm.
and you don't really have to be into it or know and just you're thriving off.
Yeah,
Yeah, there. The teeth, the tongue, and the lips. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. That's Anchorman.
Yeah.
Thriving off of just everybody else being fucking happy as fuck. I feel I should be asking you guys more questions. I'm sorry, but it's your podcast.
Well, this is
yeah.
the way it should work.
It's because
isn't
I'm sitting by myself, just like. So, did I get the job? Is this cool?
We'll let you know.
Hello, Ms. Lady. Have you ever had like fight while you're playing? Have you had like fights or mosh pits that get taken too far and you've had to stop or?
Now I do have a. I think you can correct me if I'm wrong, Danny. And I've actually been told by reliable sources that the reason in King Tut's, obviously, so crowd surfing has always been kind of frowned upon. Everybody knows the dangers of it, but I think something happened. We were playing a show, King Tut's. The end of our set has a Bad Day for Shorts, and it's got, it's a ska two-tony style, and then at the end we've got a beat down, so we get real heavy and real mean. But there's a little build up to that, so usually we'd kind of wall of death, part the crowd, and go for that. So King Tut's, I think whoever was promoting it, I think it was her like first night on the job or something. We're building up to this bit, and you just see the the crowd's splitting, but they didn't have security in, didn't have a barrier. They didn't think it was gonna. And again, it was a wall of death. It wasn't. We knew what was going on, but she starts freaking out, and the sound engineer also is at the back because I think we're building up. I don't know if she told him to turn us off. So I think he turned us off at the front. So we build up, blah 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 blah, and then I think Danny, you may have this video. I'm sure you were standing next to the guy because you could just hear him going, "What are they doing?" Shut us off the front of house, but
Jeez.
all of our instruments were still on. So and then everybody's like,
The Malaya people.
yeah. Apart from that, no, it's never. It's like with the Real Big Fish thing, we went for it, and on the odd night, take your instrument and just jump in the crowd for that part.
Yeah.
Or it's easier for the brass guys because they can just go and play, so they do that often. But yeah, we jump in. But
I also wanted to know have you ever had like a failed stage dive? Oh, you're pretty big, so like if I saw you come
yeah.
up like
I've
I think the first time, and I'm pretty sure that was our Richie Mitchell, was like, I think it was Les and Jake at the Barrowlands. Yellow Card was supporting. Yellow Card.
I had yellow card there.
Oh
Or
yeah,
not-
cool.
Zebra head. Yeah.
Yeah. Zebra. So Richie's like, oh yeah, go up and chucks me up, and I get about halfway and straight to the ground on my back, just
Winded.
and, I was full force, but everybody quite nicely picked me up, and then from then on I was like, no,
just give that a pass.
I am not
Stage diving's not for me.
crowd surfing. I just actually stage dive. It's two different things, but I was kind of in my brain. I'm like, no, stage dive. I don't think I've ever actually dived off a stage. No, I've gracefully climbed off.
Right. So crowd surf, you're just kind of like leaning over, then going, and
Yeah,
everyone
crowd
just
surf.
left
You're,
it.
you're
pick
getting
you,
thrown
yeah.
up, and then hoping that the
The hands just keep going.
Right.
the wave will take you.
A dive's a proper dive.
A dive's a
committed.
proper. Yeah, it's a proper setting up for the dismount. 10 out of 10. I have seen it go horribly, horribly wrong. I remember years ago at the Barfly, there was a band, and they just really pissed off the crowd. I can't remember how, but the guy went to jump off, and it wasn't even a big thing.
Flat.
Everybody just had moved out the way and went, boom.
It's quite like a collective effort to move out of the way because
Yeah.
everyone needs to be like, 6 down. Yeah, I'll move.
Yeah, you've pissed off
Yeah.
that many people.
They had what do you call it, like hive brain?
Yeah.
Just moved out of the way. Yeah. Any real big fish backstage stories?
I did ask him about basketball because
Mm.
Kieran Dickey, Keys a D.
Yeah.
He was like, the one thing you have to do is ask, Aaron Barrett. Ask
basketball.
the singer. That's it. And I did it, and then he was just like, yeah, we walked in the room, met the guys, and then left. That was it. There was no. We filmed it, and they just were like in and out, and that's I got glassed in the head on the very, very last date. That happened. So, us and the other support band, the Hostiles and Newtown Kings, we went out. This was in Oxford? Camden? Nah, it was the last day.
Was that a Prosecco glass?
Sadly not. Oxford. Oxford. Yes. Yeah, there you go. So this is the last date. We've had 2 weeks of good times. Us and the support band, there was a little Jamaican bar owned by a proper old Jamaican couple. So we've all went in there, and we're all drinking tequila because there's 16 of us or something. Tequila. And me and Majika, who's a legend in his own right.
See the guy who was like a bouncer at Fury's?
He worked at
Something.
Fury's. He
Yeah.
worked for a good bit. Yep, yeah. He's an air celebrity
Yeah.
in my eyes. Anyway, I've got a lot of time for the man. Good man. Yeah. So me and him had like eaten. I think we had mezcal too. Basically, we just like drank this place dry of anything that was tequila like shaped. So yeah, but me and him, we would both eat the worms.
Yeah.
We had 2 worms at the bottom, so we eat the worms. Smoky, a little chewy, yeah. But they're it's meant to be like you can trip out, or
Yeah.
it's meant to do you some damage. Lights off. Is that time to leave? Yeah. So that happens. Callum had went outside to smoke. Everybody's like, this is middle of the day or something. Everybody's. Oh no, sorry. Was it after the gig? It was after the gig. Yeah, Callum's went outside to smoke, and like 3 guys approach him,
Mm-hmm.
and they're asking him for cigarettes or whatever, and he's just like, nah. And then they're like, ah. So he comes in, and he's like, these guys are hassling. So, and Majika, like, same size as me.
Mm-hmm.
Same build, so we walk out, and we're just like, what's going on? And they're talking shit. We're like, we're having a good time. Like, nobody wants any
With the
of-
English, or
yes, they were. Yes, very.
like banker English, or like
No, like chav.
all right, okay.
Like Netty. For those who don't know the difference. Yeah, so they're hassling them, and then we're like, right, cool, we're gonna go back in and drink. Yeah, we just brought Callum in with us. We're gonna go back in and drink. So everything's cool. The night goes on. We're all just like drinking and have a good time. And one of them is like, "Oh, we'll be back. We'll be back." So we go back inside, and then later on in the night, we go outside, and guess who turns up? These 3 guys, because they said they'd be back. So we walk back out, and one of them, and bear in mind, so me and Majika, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". Obviously that sounds like 3 people, but I don't know how tall Majika is. Over 6 foot, okay. These guys must be like 5'6" or 5'7", or and I've seen plenty of small people. I don't start fights because I'm like, anyone could just knock you out with 1 punch, but the odds were in Majika's favor on this.
Yeah.
This guy's he's coming up, and he's all in Majika's face, and our friend Laura McGlinchey of Da Vinci's in Kilmarnock, the excellent Italian restaurant. I will plug I will totally plug.
Plug.
If we get a sponsorship, plug away.
Yeah, her family owned that. It's awesome. So she's there, and she's like, so you imagine there's like this guy and Majika stand face to face, and Laura's came in to be like, yeah, we don't want any trouble. And this guy gets in Laura's face, and actually turned out, and I didn't see because I was standing on it was in his left hand. I was standing on the guy's right side. Or it might be the other way around. Anyway. This guy. So Majika's kind of coming up, and this almost this sandwich of anger, and next thing you see, like the guy had a glass in his hand, and boom, smacked Majika straight in his cheekbone. Like if he could have blinded him, hits him. I'm standing there, not too far, so it's like I see that, and I step in, take the guy down. You want to tell you want to tell this man? Sorry. Yeah. I hit him in the right place, and he went down. So I'm saying I've hit him in the right place. He went down. Say there's 3 of them. The friend walks towards, just like, look what I just did to your friend. and then he's like, he just backs out. So it leaves this one guy who's just decided like he's gonna take me and Majika on at the same time. Which we made quick work of that and kind of slammed him into a bike rack. Again, this was all like we didn't provoke this. This is all we were defending ourselves,
Self-defense.
self-defense, and said Majika just been glassed in the face.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, yeah. So that happens, right? And I think even before, so I rewind back to we just walked out. I had a drink in my hand. I had a glass in my hand. And I drank it and kind of like half cut. And I'm like, I'm just going to put this down over here just in case anything happens. So, okay, yeah, we've hit this guy. I remember Laura like had grabbed me. I think Majika maybe walk back in at this point. Yeah, Laura had grabbed me and we're kind of going towards the door, but the old Jamaican couple had closed the door. So it was like two glass doors. Yeah, glass door, a little bit small space, and then glass door. So there's like 3 or 4 people trying to get into this one bit. I'm standing at the back. Bob, our sound engineer for that tour, I've got Laura pulling me. I'm kind of looking back because the guy, bike rack guy, had kind of reappeared, and Bob's like, Chris, look behind you, Chris. So I'm looking, and I see him with the two glasses in his hands. And the reason I backtracked to say the glass on the floor because I'm like, I look back, I'm like, one of those was fucking mine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm standing, I'm looking at him, I'm like, don't do it. And he's like, oh, and I'm like, look, man, don't do it. I've got Laura pulling me like into this small little doorway, and the guy with the glass kind of like he backs off, and I'm like, right. So I turn back around. Next thing I hear, there's a small window, but next thing I hear is just, psh, and then I just feel bang. He like launched the glass.
Yeah.
Launched the glass. So I'm wearing a sleeveless top, and I had a mullet at this time.
Nice.
Yeah, mullet down,
Gang,
down to
gang.
my shoulders. Yeah. Back before they went viral, or in that in between stage of.
I was just looking for Daryl's wallet there. It's coming in.
Needs to grow more.
It'll come, my friend.
Yeah.
I think what I find with things like haircuts and styles and everything, personally, I feel as long as you fucking own it, as long as you don't, people be like, your hair is glorious. Like, I don't care if you're serious or not. You said the words. Thank you.
Mine was more like when I now look back, when I've got like very short hair at the back, I'm like, it looks like, say, like for example, you've had a beard for a while. When you shave, you look at your face and like it looks tiny. It looks like a wee like, mouse. I mean, that's just you. But when I look at photos and I don't have any like growth in the back,
It makes
like,
it makes your whole face and neck look much kind of scrawnier and makes you look.
Yeah, I mean, I still look good,
I don't.
but
I wouldn't go down.
Yes, I
facial hair
concur.
there.
I
you get
concur,
glass.
bro.
You get glass with a mullet.
Yeah, I got glass with a mullet. That again. Here's another section. There's a clip title: "Glass with a mullet." So yeah, I get glass. Boom. I'm fucking bleeding. The reason I mentioned it's coming down my hair and it's going all the way down like and it looks like I don't know how bad the damage is, but first glass is smashed. Laura had let go of me. And this little guy did not expect me. It's because as soon as I got hit, I just turned. He starts running, and I'm like, I'm fucking hot on his tail. He didn't expect me to be that fast. Yeah. And well, I've just been glassed in the head. I'm full of adrenaline. I'm like, whoa, yeah, I'm going in for the kill. So we run up, turns a corner, run down the street. It's just me and him on the street. Cars on either side, and then he's like behind a car. It gets to the point where it's both a little kid hiding behind this car.
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, and he's like, like look what you did to my mate, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, look what you did to my fucking head, covered in blood. So then I hear Bob like running again. Chris, don't do it, Chris. I'm like. And I could see, so there's a car in front of us, there's a van on the opposite side, and I could just, I could sense his movements. I knew, and he did exactly what I thought he was going to do. He ran, tried to run to outmaneuver and go like around the van. So I was on the other side waiting. But I'm not really one to see red, unless I'm pissing the blood. So I'm like, what am I actually gonna, like, am I gonna just beat this guy or whatever? So I see Bob still running, shouting, don't do it. And I'm like, and then he kind of runs past me. I had every opportunity, but I just let him go. But while he's running away, I was screaming, "Run, motherfucker! Run!" And
Able Nation callback.
yeah, yeah. And then that's that. That's the
Yeah, him running away is like a victory in itself. Like
Yeah.
yes,
scurrying.
yeah,
Tom and
yeah.
Jerry style.
So obviously, like, he, because what was gonna do? Ruin my life over,
Yeah, you end up done for GBH or something like that, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden you're
Yeah.
Did you have something else to add?
Majika and I went to the hospital. Majika, thankfully, he got stitches and his eye was fine.
Nice.
It was one of those like a small cut that is just like loads of fucking blood. So you think,
Mhm.
oh
yeah,
God,
a little blood
um,
goes a long way, especially
yeah.
when it's mixed with some alcohol.
yeah.
He's wearing the crimson mask.
Yeah. So we stitches, but I think we just kind of annoyed everyone in A&E for like 4 hours or something, and that was it. We lived to tell the tale on a podcast.
So, Oxford Chav, if that's you, get it up, yeah. The
Recognize this
I
man?
think you're pointing the
That's what I
camera.
thought that
I
as
think you
well.
were looking through the camera.
yeah. So as far as creativity goes, I forgot to talk about that.
Yeah, well, we're about an hour and a half in. We're now actually getting to the.
How long are we in?
I don't know.
An hour and 18 in audio.
Oh
Yeah.
my bad. Is that still running?
and 25.
Well, it should be running. It's not made a noise, so.
All right. I mean, I have nothing to do this evening, so
Had a couple,
thank you guys for having me.
couple more questions, then we'll get the photos as well, right? So I'll get the photos
Okay.
ready.
Yeah.
Fire away.
One question and story I think I wanted to end on. You'll probably be able to guess.
Toby's jacket.
No, the
Big up to Toby.
the X77.
I knew this was gonna come up. But I feel like it's over.
Have
Yeah,
you done
actually,
it today?
no, it's over. I'm done.
You want to end on that, so shall we save that for
I've got the photos as well.
the climax?
Have you been told this story, or were you familiar in the?
No,
No?
this is not heard this either. I don't think.
You've not heard it?
Don't think so.
Chris, it's not as big as you think it was.
No, I just
It was in the air
we spent
advertiser,
like
right?
a couple days
Yeah.
together in
Oh,
the
yeah,
van.
yeah.
You know, it's,
I'm sure I mentioned it. No,
I feel like it
Maybe
came.
maybe I
I
have.
feel like it came up and
Mhm.
I just synopsis it these days,
Yeah.
if that is the word.
no this is the place for.
Divulging in.
No,
Well, actually,
whatever you
you could read it on the Daily Mail. You could read it in a few different things.
So I actually got this. This was published.
Yeah, it was published. Yeah, it happened. We'll say it happened on the Friday, and by Monday I had a press agent. So
A press agent
yeah,
just for that story, and then they.
just for that story. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I think I made like £200 from it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah. But we'll get to that. What
Yeah,
else you got?
We'll get to the end. So I've got the photos, and
I've not seen any of them.
no, a little short bit I just wanted to cover first because it's meant to be about creativity. If you
I
had
never
any-
actually got to answer your question about working with the guys. Your question
Oh,
about
right,
working
yes, yeah.
with Daryl and Danny.
How was that for you?
Oh, awesome. Yeah. I see like Daryl's fairly new to the industry and he's wanting to learn and progress his skills, and I'm impressed where you're at already. And like I'm just happy to help. Say getting pictures taken of yourself, blah blah. I'm like, this is just what I look like. I leave the house and like that's it. So take all the pictures you fucking want.
Yeah, it's new. It was good with you and Glencoe and here because you've had your pictures taken in bands and individually so many times that A, you know what you're doing, B, you're comfortable with it, and then C, you've also got you've got insight into what could be helpful or what not to do or these kind of things, and you're kind of like, yeah, just I'm your dummy, lead the way, whatever.
I like taking photos myself
Mhm.
and video stuff. And as you said, yeah, I've had lots of friends over the years that have been photographers, and I've just been like, oh, do you mind? You know,
Mhm.
I've cowboy shirts and all sorts.
Who took your LinkedIn?
That was Cruise. That was a cruise photographer.
A cruise photographer?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
As in on a cruise?
I was going to say,
On
I
a
was on a
cruise, yeah.
boat.
Sorry, I'm you do one of those.
Clip
All that
that.
blows coming back. Sorry. It was me in the disabled toilet, by the way. No, we do not condone drugs or violence. just so we know, self-defense only and recreation. I mean, prescription. So, yeah, the original question was. Nah, I forgot.
We kind of covered it. So do
Uh,
you want to
was
do we
just
want to
gonna
talk
ask if-
about some of the photos first, and then have a little deep dive into creativity afterwards?
Sure. Is there a projector plug-in or something?
Or we could maybe mesh the two. So out with music,
Uh-huh.
you kind of alluded to it already with like some video stuff and some photography stuff. What sparks your creativity? What do you do?
I don't know. I've always like, I'm a sucker for scenery.
Mhm.
I just like, and I like looking at stuff, and yeah, I just
Is that,
like
is that
looking.
internet stuff? Or?
It can be. It can. Daryl posts a lot of stuff on the internet, so obviously,
does. That was prolific.
Chauncey, Chauncey.
Shout out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, while we're on the topic of posting a lot, the way I see it with photography, so say like portraits,
Mm.
the main reason that I wanted to, and we're doing the podcast and Struan wanted to do as well, is we're doing like product photography. We've done landscapes for years and years. Portraits are something that usually it's quite a scary thing to do. Take a
Mhm.
photo of someone.
Mhm.
There's a lot of pressure because if you don't deliver, and let's say we had like an hour and a half, or with Kaz I had like 20 minutes to get photos, and you need to get something. Plus, it's going out on this
Mhm.
podcast, so if it's crap, but I like that pressure. But also, if you're posting a lot, it's a constant reminder to everyone. Oh, this person does photography. This person does
Yeah,
photography.
yeah.
And you never know who's going to see what post.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
But that's the logic behind
that
it.
is that is the crux of it. Like, you do never know who's watching,
No.
who's listening.
mhm.
And just because you're bored in a certain part of your life doing the same thing, that could be the one break you need that then flips the whole world.
Yep.
And
Yeah. Films as well, actually. So that's
yeah,
I love movies. I
You'll-
love
yeah.
TV. I love I always have.
because you had, I think we talked about this when we were in the van doing the video advert for your camper out now.
Want to buy a camper van?
But we talked about, because you had quite a lot of downtime when you were out abroad working, and that was one of the things you sort of indulged in. Was the,
Yeah. Just I don't know. To me, like, it's just stories. You know, if you can, I never buy into, you know, so like people are, oh, this is gospel and this is blah blah blah. I'm like, if I watch something and it makes me feel good or
Yeah.
zone it, like, cool. But and I've always done that. I've always been a night person. Because of that, what better thing to do at night than just rinse and watch through things? I watch things over and over and over again. You know, I try and
vary it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, you could sometimes return to things that are.
yeah.
Spice World.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I do wonder how it's aged.
Yeah.
I've seen how they've aged.
Let's watch it with a few pints after.
Hey.
So do you ever find inspiration from, say, like, do you write songs?
Yes.
And do you find inspiration? Is it always other music, or do you find it from like movies and TV as well? Or
Sometimes I've always been into like quotes or maxims.
Mhm.
You know, just like little things, just like a sentence. And for me, like a line can spark something. You
Yeah.
know, I've always like say rap and hip hop and poetry and in all of its forms. So sometimes, like, if you were to ask me to write a song right now, I'd go, like, give me some lines, and then I wouldn't freestyle it because I'm not very good at free.
Harry
but
Mack.
yeah, I can't spit the Harry Mack bars. But yeah, I could sit and do a cohesive.
You can
know,
work something out. From
yeah, I
that.
can work something out that makes sense in time relatively in tune.
We do need a theme tune.
We do.
All right.
Is that Limp Bizkit? Bad, no.
Keep it rolling, baby.
You know what time it is.
I'm taking it straight to the Matthews Bridge.
Can we take 5 so I can?
I
Yeah,
don't actually know what's going on here.
Can we keep talking or just play?
I suppose. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can keep talking. Or do you need the light off? Or
Just want to make sure. Did I actually answer your question?
Yeah, no, like it's just interesting because so far we've had musicians on, we've been talking to musicians, but what makes things what inspires people? I think for me, it's when I'm not thinking about the thing, like a project, like then things just come to you when you've got
Yeah.
that downtime in between.
Yeah.
Um,
Right, so
On
that
the-
you've
sorry.
like you don't always have the energy when you're doing something to
No.
do something. I find that I've got songs I've been writing for years, and it's like I haven't all the songs are written, but I've never finished the lyrics. And in order for me to do that, I have to find it like I'm feeling good. I'll sit for like 8 hours listening to the same thing over and over and changing stuff and,
Mhm.
and going and
because Kaz talked about the kind of mood scene needs to be into right,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he very much sort of relies on feeling down about things to create his best work.
Yeah.
And I said, like a lot of the music I like most, I'm quite into rap, hip hop and stuff. A lot of my favorite albums and pieces of work have come born out of that sort of same
Yeah,
mood
yeah,
from
yeah,
for those
well,
artists.
Especially
What about
with,
you?
Yeah, I totally get it. I totally get where Cass is coming from as well. So I've always kind of written in a first person, kind of third person kind of way. You know, it's like if you listen to, especially so doing the ska punk stuff, I always describe it as just like, yeah, the music's. I like the whole like melancholy. Like the music's really happy, but I'm just complaining about shit.
Yeah.
I'm just complaining about sad stuff, and because I personally find it, and it might be the same with Kaz, that it's easy, like conviction. You know, it's easier to write something that you actually like believe in, like happy, cheesy songs. Like you take "Beer" by the Real Big Fish, like that's all about like a chick screwing him over. It's not about any, you know, but people, it's the chorus that everybody really. So if you take all your mainstream pop and stuff, most of it's innuendo. Most of it kind of always has been. Like fucking wet ass pussy, and you know that's
that's a bit on the nose. That one.
number one song. You ever seen is it Gilbert Godfrey doing it?
No.
No.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. You gotta watch that.
Yeah.
You know that voice.
I will.
The mopping bucket. Yeah, it's totally worth your time.
I think I've heard him read 50 Shades of Grey.
All
So
right.
that's a bit it. But while you're talking about creativity and it's when you're not trying to, there's a really good book by John Cleese from Monty Python.
Yeah. All right,
He-
John Cheese.
Oh,
Yeah. No, his Cleese is the stage name, I believe.
oh, is it?
John Cheese is
John
his
Cheese.
actual.
There you
yeah.
go. There's
Oh,
a
I didn't know that.
factoid.
He didn't mention that in his book. But it's on creativity, and he's talking about when he was writing sketches or writing stuff for Monty Python, he found that there's like a couple of chapters on the subconscious brain.
Yeah.
So he's like, let's say me and you need to come up with a song by tomorrow, and we sit here for an hour. Even though we go home and have our dinner and go to sleep, our subconscious is still working on it. And if we come back the next day, we might have like 20 more ideas. And he kind of breaks it down. It's really interesting.
I've always, for me, it's like see if I had an argument or if I'm pissed off about something, I'm always like go to sleep.
Yeah,
Wake up.
absolutely. Yeah.
And that's
Wake up, come up with a better comeback, argue again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Take a shower. Being like, man, I'm still having arguments from 20 years ago in the shower, like all the time.
Yeah, I remember because we were coming back down from Mull last year, and we listened to, cause it's a reasonably short audiobook,
Yeah.
and we listened to it in the car on the way back.
Mhm.
And yeah, like a lot of the stuff that he talked about resonated about being in that kind of headspace to allow you to find those ideas. But on the same kind of topic as in arguments and things, we're gonna get a little bit philosophical.
Try that one again.
I've had an argument with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
deep.
but I quite like meditation for that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know I wouldn't
that-
say like
MAST. No, it's okay, cool. Right. Sweet. Or we would meditate in different ways.
Packing some heat.
Peace.
But I feel like doing that as a practice, and I don't do it. I don't sit down and do it every night or anything like that. But doing that
You're not getting any younger, my friend. It just only gets harder. It gets softer, but it gets harder.
But having gone through that as like a practice for like a prolonged period of time.
It's all right. We snap some pictures of them, then grill them with invasive questions.
Invasive imagery.
That is quite before we got derailed there.
Yeah,
With some rude jokes.
yeah.
No,
yeah.
I always found I do find that meditation, that having gone through that practice consistently, then gives me the ability in an argument or a heated situation or a stressful moment to actually sort of detach from it and pull back,
Yeah,
and then
kind of.
you've still
zen
got your
focus.
best your best comebacks are right there.
So my question for you on meditation, what do you find yourself like? Do you do the proper like crisscross
No,
fingers
I
out,
think
or
that's
like,
nonsense. Like basically, when I was
oh, you meditate, Daryl?
I've maybe about 20 times, but I struggle sleeping, and I
you
overthink
know, you should try
everything.
this thing called masturbate. Like
That's why I
usually-
struggle sleeping.
yeah, it's usually a good one. You were saying?
yeah, so I don't sit and like hum kumbaya or anything like that. I would focus like on breath, and so just like counting like 1 to in 5, hold 5, out 5. And for some reason, like I'm dumb enough that I can't concentrate on anything else other than counting to 5.
Yeah.
So do that for like 10, 15 minutes, and yeah. And I know what you mean about sleeping, because sometimes like all you're focusing on is work in the day and what things are coming up or things you couldn't do that day or whatever, and you need a way of being able to pull out of that. But
That or smoking weed.
oh, well, that could do it.
The two options. One's a lot quicker.
One's
and easier.
cheaper.
See, you've just opened a total other branch of everything
For creativity.
I'm-
So how do you rely on like external influences for creativity, recreation,
I-
production?
Not anymore. I've say with things like smoking weed. You know, I smoked a lot for a good many years. As I got older, I just kind of got tired of. You know, I thought one day I just thought to myself, I wonder if I will get more accomplished by not being
not?
stoned all the time. Jury's still out on that one. But yeah, I used to live with a close friend of mine, still to this day. Some dude, and he used to work at a club, and he would leave at like 11 or something, you know, to go and do photography in the club. So I would get my bass, roll a little joint, glass of water, sit at my table, and smoke half of it, sit and play. Get up, take a piss, refill my water, smoke the other half, and then my good friend would just appear, and I'd be like, "Whoa, what are you doing home?" He'd be like, "It's fucking 3:30." Oh shit! I've just been sitting here, just playing this whole time, you
It was
know.
a long piss.
So like in a musical creative kind of thing, yeah, there's sometimes like external fact, like some people have a couple drinks to like loosen up, that almost like Dutch courage kind of thing of, yeah, I could get kind of groovy, or you can get lost in it to the point where you come back the next day, start fresh, and actually like fresh ears, fresh mind on it. But I found like doing that, I could spend hours and hours practicing.
Yeah.
And that's the main benefit that I've found, or I would personally say to anybody, like I'm an advocate, go green, you know, electric, whatever. Yeah, I find it's encouraged me. Yeah, there's a lot of touring, a lot of smoking. Sometimes boredom, killing time, or like just being chill. You're in a place, you go on holiday, you drink, you do whatever, 'cause that's part of you're not at work. You're not at, you know, it's just everybody likes to get loose in their stiff and loose. call it, because you're stoned and you're like, but also you're like, ooh. Yeah. So I would say I've never like relied on it, but I've used it as a tool to enhance, and
Yeah.
that's the difference between like a pothead and a stoner.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can lift and lay it when you want to.
Yeah.
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 You're in control.
Still fully functional, like still obviously don't get me wrong, it could be a struggle, like social thing and doing like, oh shit, I am high as balls and I need to go and do stuff. God. But I do the stuff, and that's
You
what
get it done.
yeah, you get the shit done. Which with alcohol you can't really do. And that's why
No.
weed is better than alcohol. Back to you.
So, we at with photos. You want to? What are we using? Are we using iPad? Are we going laptop?
No, I'll just do it on the screen. So if we'll just cut to the images now, and I'll talk through them. Right.
Well,
Right.
yeah, okay.
Enjoy editing that.
So will we dim the lights for this bit?
Could dim the lights, but can you at least leave the cameras rolling?
So one thing, pre-warning,
Uh-huh.
for most of the pictures, because we'd missed the sunset, we knew that at the time.
Yeah,
It compromised some of the pictures in the light. But I'm going to start off with a photo that you've already seen. So this is a portrait we took in Glencoe.
All right, cool.
So it's earlier this year.
Yeah, and this one's I put it in a black and white competition because I liked it. Not because I think it's worthy of winning anything, but with the competitions you usually get really good feedback and it's good networking, and you usually
It's a good memory. That was our first time working together.
Yeah, it was
I've
a good
worked
trip.
with Danny.
Yep.
Many times over the years. Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we went away with number
Thank you.
73 Media to do
I need to practice what I preach, huh?
to do a camper van advert for your camper. And on the last day, we were just chilling in Glencoe, and Chris was looking at one of these lampposts with all the stickers on it. It's like stickers from all over the world.
As I said, I like to look at things.
Yeah. And landscapes.
Yes.
So after a few photos, got a wee cheeky half face of him peeking out, and the story that I put, the pretentious story that I put into the competition was all these stickers are little traces of a stranger, and by him peeking out, it's like a fleeting moment where he's about to go, and that was it. That was the deepest thing I could think of for that photo, and hopefully they believe that's what I was thinking at the time.
See, the black and white really like pronounces. I hope that's the word. The scar underneath my left eye.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Fucking idea how I got that scar.
No idea.
No idea. And saying there's one just above my eyebrow. No idea.
I've got one above my eyebrow, but I know that's from I came in on a New Year's night and walked into the tiles in the kitchen and burst my face.
Nice. out in the tiles, as they say.
Painted the town red
I'm trying to picture how you walk into tiles.
because it's like a corner, but it was like a sharp corner.
Oh,
and it's like-
right.
Now I
tile
say
wall.
when you're vertical and you go horizontal.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing. Okay, so this is the disaster bit. We've designed this podcast called Portrait in a Podcast, and the portraits derail it every time.
And
Oh no, that's the wrong way.
So
So
like that.
this is one. If you ever wanted a wee Canva image,
That's,
a wee sunset
that is
shot,
really nice. It's very aesthetically pleasing. Is that the new
Um,
threads as well?
That is it. Yes, that's the purple Volcom hoodie.
yeah, he had a beautiful purple hoodie for when it was lighter to kind of try
Yeah,
and
so we-
stand out, and then later on when it was dark, it is tie dye, which you're gonna see. But yeah, is my mic cut out?
Yeah, it's that.
Just the
Is
cable.
that it back?
Yeah, sure, back. Yeah.
But yeah, the thought behind this again was just your standard Canva stuff would be good if you're promoting anything. Am I cutting in and out? Hello?
Say this is the first time I didn't.
Hello?
Daryl tried to show me.
Hello,
but I
hello,
thought
hello, hello.
I'll wait.
Am I back?
So this is genuinely me seeing it for the first time, and that's a sweet photo.
Cool. The rest aren't so sweet.
I like it.
Apart from the end, I think. So this is when it was struggling with light a bit,
Okay.
but I've got a filter on the lens, which I bore people to death with. It's called a black diffusion filter. So
I've heard this 3 times now.
where you would have like the harsh light coming here that might usually ruin a photo, it just kind of adds a kind of dreamy effect. And then I usually take the clarity down. I keep the clarity and contrast on your eyes, nose, and like say like your ear there, your prominent features, and then just make everything else dreamy. That's the kind of style I like.
Yeah, I could dig it.
And then obviously a wee cheeky look to the camera here. The classic
well,
Chris pose.
You know, I'm
Something
I
that
try
David
not to
Brent
be-
look into that as well, just a wee.
I try not to be too serious.
I quite like the light in this one. 'cause
That's
it really
almost
diffused through the arm.
angelic, like the halo coming behind you.
That was me and Chris were talking about poses, and I was like,
That's the one
Pulling
you
the hood
liked.
up.
Yeah, pulling the hood
Pulling
up.
the hood up,
yeah.
baby.
Well, there's that like the classic. I really like just like my favorite one is pointing at something.
yeah,
And I think it's a popular one now, but just like, oh hey, what's that over there?
they say it's when you're looking at a man in a photo, it's more natural. Is this got Siri on? How'd you get rid of it?
I tend not to look at the man in the photos.
So men in photos, it's better if you're doing an action, like you're lifting up your hood, you're putting your hands in your pockets, you're
Mm.
leaning, you're looking somewhere, whereas women are more stereotypically. What is happening here?
What is that? A protector? Like what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Why
got,
is this moving?
you've
Probably
I
the
think you've said it in like
protector.
a slideshow now.
Slideshow.
Yeah, I think
Sorry,
you hit play there.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Uh,
I didn't know Apple did condoms. Steve blowjobs.
that face looks like you're in a bar making these jokes, like just turning around like Steve Blowjob.
Yeah.
And then I think we get to the light painting ones eventually. I think you've got a wee peekaboo one. Yeah.
That's all for any listener or viewer. That's all Daryl. Daryl likes a little peekaboo.
Is my mic working?
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Something about like, the gods just attack when we're doing the photo bit. So
Ooh.
this is the start of. It was pretty dark. Danny from Number 73 Media, we were experimenting with this little kind of light bar. It's like LED light bar. It has all your different colors. So we were trying to like light Chris's face, and he was great at standing still when we had the kind of darker
It's a rare
background.
talent.
It is though. There was a few bloody ones, but
What kind of shutter speed you in these in? Is it fairly low?
yeah, we can put the settings up. I'll send them after because I can't remember. But we had
Yes,
longer
we-
ones later on.
My
but-
sad face. Like that's somebody's driving away. Ooh,
So
look at
these
that.
ones I start to love. And sorry about your tough to hair. It looks like you got.
I
top
was
knot and
just
it's
gonna
working for
say,
you.
is that my fucking hair?
No, but that looks like you've got a sweet like ponytail.
It
but
does.
I
and it
don't
suits
want a
you.
sweet ponytail. That
Right, we can get rid. I did get rid of it, and then I put it back, and I was like, I like that.
Nah,
but-
it's a sick picture, bro.
So what we did here, and hopefully, I think Danny's got some video footage of it, was we had Chris stand relatively still, and I think for this one, I started off at the back, and I ran up making a pattern, and Danny hit the shutter and told me when to go, and then I'd run in front of him, just light him up with the red bar. So the light being on you was like, I think if you zoom in, you might be able to see like any kind of shadow movement when the light wasn't on you, but the light shining on you then.
I
got
think
still.
the hoodie was a good call.
Yeah, the
the
tie
light.
dye adds to the kind of
Yeah,
waviness.
flowing effect.
And then we're nearly done. Cool.
We'll be okay.
And this was the last one, so the favorite one on camera. I don't know what you think of these. I should be asking for your opinion as well.
No, man, they're all fucking awesome. That there's a slight smirk there, and I can't remember what the joke was, or something happened that I just like trying not to move, but also trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
I don't know if you fell over or I don't know something funny
Was it
happened.
just me running?
Yeah, it could have been, yeah. But by that point, like you'd already ran like 3 or 4 times in the sand, so it was like
This is maybe like lap 30 of trying to get a pattern behind him. But yeah, so was it a 10-second exposure?
yes,
It
yeah.
varied between 10 and 15, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we decided on 10 for the.
Was
Te-
probably the best one.
10 was the best because then you could light up you fine and it wasn't like too bloody.
I was gonna say, actually, considering you had to stand for 10 seconds, like that's pretty sharp. So to be able to hold that, so I take it back about my joke about standing still being a skill. It genuinely is for that kind of stuff.
Sorry, I took that seriously, but
But yeah, No, hopefully you can get some use out of them. It was good fun. I
Yeah,
think.
I will. You will see. I don't. That's the thing. So we're talking about people like posting stuff. That's a big thing that I don't do enough of.
Mhm.
And I know that, and because I always like, I've got all the gear, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do some videos. You know, like my bass playing. I'm like, if I want to do this, I need to actually promote myself, and
Yeah.
I don't. So to anyone and you guys and anyone else who are listening, like, fucking promote yourselves. There's no
Use
harm.
us.
What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? You're gonna get rich and famous. Who the fuck wants to be famous?
I think the thing is for most people, when I'm in the same boat, it's the promotion side of it's secondary because you want to create art.
Yeah,
And-
and not care what people think. That's a big part. Right.
But you're like that's the thing that drives you and motivates you is the creation. But it's then you've got to then promote it to people, and that's where it falls down for a lot
Yeah.
of people in that situation. I think.
Yeah.
It's difficult to keep it going, but
Yeah, it is. It's like not caring is a skill,
yeah,
and it's a very tough one to master. And you do wonder how some of these people, like some people don't read. You know, you get like mean tweets and all, like some people just go, "I'm not gonna," and some people do. You see what happens with some people that do,
yeah,
and they care about what people think, and that
Kanye
changes the direction of it.
Yeah. And I mean, fuck, it's ruined people's lives. People have left
Yeah.
industries because of what other people think. And as a creative, I have my preferences. I'm not into some stuff that some people do, but I don't care. It doesn't hurt me.
Mhm.
Like I don't need to go and start shit with them because
No, if there's enough space out there for everyone to enjoy whatever they want
Yeah.
to enjoy, and if you want to enjoy Spice Girls, then why
fu-
should
I
anyone
fucking
take that
will.
away from you?
I will. I think a good 4 years ago, my mom bought me a Spice World CD just so I can.
Play it in the
Drunk.
car.
Yeah,
Viva
I
la
still have a
Spice.
CD player, so I could.
Yeah.
But next
And,
time you see me,
Sorry to interrupt. In the interest of time, is the battery going to survive for the last story?
X77.
This could be like an audio only exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it runs out, we'll just do the audio.
Will we cut off and then
I can just go for it. How long is it going to take?
record the
again, well, I give you the
Give us the abridged version.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
right. You got the dates?
Nope.
Nah, I'm just checking. You got dates? It was December. I feel like it was 2014. Maybe I think it was 2014. I don't know. Yeah, I was lived in Ayr at the time. Was working in Glasgow. I had a job interview in Glasgow, so went up to Glasgow on the X77 bus. On the way back down, I had a job interview. Went to get the bus back. At the time, the vape I was using was like a bigger kind of rebuildable vape, so you could change the cotton and stuff
Yeah.
as opposed to disposable. So again, this bus, and I'm 33 now, so I only learned to drive when I was 30. You know, so I've been getting this bus for a long time. I was very well versed in this bus. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, right, I'm going to meet my friends at the bar. When I get home, I'm gonna sort out my vape. I was using a butterscotch liquid at that time, and the butterscotch liquid can be very sugary, so it ruins the stuff. Blah blah blah. Makes it taste horrible. So I thought, okay, I'll take the cotton out and I'll put the cotton back in. So I'm sitting there, about to start doing this, and in my head, anytime I've done it, like I've thought to myself, oh, it'd be funny if somebody thought this was a bomb, huh? But I'm sitting with my headphones in, and I was listening to something on YouTube.
How to make a bomb.
Little did they know. So I listened to something on YouTube, and I'm doing this, and in front of me there was two younger guys and a woman. So one of the guys got up to go to the toilet. Again, so I stay very aware of my surroundings. I try to anyway. So guy walks past me. Cool, I'm thinking nothing of it. Guy walks past me again. I'm doing what I'm doing. Whatever I was watching on YouTube stopped. So I could hear in front of me them being like, like the woman's like, I'll speak to the driver and you know, I get him to pull over or something. Yeah, I'll tell him something to like, they're like conspiring. And I'm like, I don't know, whatever. Like across from me, there's a woman and her daughter and a couple people behind them. So yeah, the bus kind of almost like Newton Mearns, kind of just coming from Glasgow, and the motorway from Glasgow to Ayr. The bus starts to pull over, and so the thing in my brain, right, is this bus fucking breaks down all the time.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is. Bus starts to pull over. The bus driver gets off, and he's like, "Oh, everybody off the bus." And we're like, "All right, cool. The bus is broken down." There's like, the people in front of me. It's like, we can smell burning. It was, smell burning or something. So bear in mind, like this is like the bottles were bigger back then. The liquid, it was like a strong, sweet, buttery smell, buttery biscuit base. So the people across from me are like chatting, and I could hear the girl and her daughter being like, I can smell something sweet. I don't smell any burning or anything. It's I'm like, well, it's not me. So then we proceed to, some of us got off the bus. It was on the bottom floor. Some people didn't get off the bus. It was during, I believe it was Hurricane Ball Bag.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
One of the named kind of things. So it's like it's bucketing it down, and we're on the side of the motorway, and we're standing there. I left my bag at my seat. I've got like a big black kind of rucksack, and I left it there because I'm like, well, I'm not getting all my shit.
Don't want to get my bum damp.
So I walk, and I'm standing there, and we're there for like 45 minutes until
Does no one say anything to you at this point?
nobody's. And I before I stepped off the bus, I said to the driver, I'm like, look, man, like, do you think it's my vape? I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. And he said, no. He's trying like phone. I'm like, well, like, is this the smell? Is that what it's coming from? Fully aware, pungent. So yeah, stand there, wait. Cop car shows up. 2 cops go like onto the bus, and they go to like the back door, the bigger door. So I step onto it and I go, by the way, that's my bag. Just like, feel free to look in it, do whatever you want. Like, cool, that's my bag. So I step back off and I'm standing there, and then they're like, I can see them conversing or whatever, and then like random bus guy just like, here, big man, they want to talk to you. So I'm like, all right. So I'm standing at the side of the bus. The officers like step off, kind of like I think asked me to grab my bag or something. Step off, and like, so do you have any tools on you? Any wires? And I'm
Any wires?
like, no. And in my brain, like I've started to work it out. Like, no fucking way. So he's like, oh, we'll step around like to the side of the bus, or the back of the bus. And the 2 of them are there, and then I start getting the questions. So questions get interrupted because some woman had called her fucking husband or something to pick him up, and she's trying to run across the motorway where the cops are standing there. And then just like, oh, anyway. So they're asking me like, oh, I'm like, well, I've just been for a job interview. Like, you can look at like, I've got shoes. I've got like, you can here. I'm pulling stuff out, and they're like, all right, and they're kind of, and I'm like. I just went, fuck it. By any chance, does somebody think my vape's a bomb? Yeah. And they're like, yeah. And we were really sorry. And that was it. That was like that was the whole thing. Somebody like the people in front of me had decided to tell a fucking bus driver that I'm sitting there building a bomb. I'm like, well, shitty fucking terrorist is gonna sit and just be like, hold on a second, guys.
And of all the things to do, the X77 on a Friday.
And that too. I'm like, yeah, the major bus route.
Yeah.
Take out some players.
It was a pretty full Glasgow night bus. It was kind of full, but anyway. So yeah, we get back on the bus, and that's it. Well, I remember. So I get back on the bus, and of course my fucking seat's taken. So I go, start walking upstairs, and full top deck. Like just one of those. I've just walked into a room full of strangers, haven't I? So I'm like, sorry, folks. Somebody thought that my vape was a bomb, and yeah, no one really says anything. And as I
Did no one laugh for that? Were they all pissed off? at
no,
that
they were
point?
just kind of all just like baffled, as you would be.
Yeah, you would be. wouldn't you?
So yeah, I start kind of walking down. Luckily, an old guy was just like, oh, yeah, just kind of being nice, like, oh, what happened? Oh, that's ridiculous. And then, because my thing was, I'm like, I need to sit down somewhere. So the just across from the old guy, look, there's a younger guy and there's a seat. So I'm like, mind if I sit there? So he lets me in, and then we're just kind of talking like, oh, my friend's got one of those. So it's just this has been a big fucking confusion. Cool. We get back to air. Everybody, I'm like the last person off the bus, just by chance, and the bus driver was like, I'm really, really sorry. I'm like, yeah, it's all good, man. And actually, I rewind back to the police, because one thing I also asked him, I'm like, am I gonna be on some kind of list now or something? Like,
Yeah,
what's
terrorist watch
I'm
list, yeah.
thinking like, well, fuck, because they closed the entire motorway. That's why it took them 45 minutes to get there.
Jesus.
And I didn't know anything about this until later on. And other people were like, yeah, our traffic got diverted and stuff. I'm like,
I suppose
right.
it's a sensible thing to do if there's a bomb scare.
yeah.
Just keep the traffic away
Yeah,
from.
yeah. So the police did a great job. I'm not their, like, they're not my favorite people, but they did an awesome job. Yeah. So, but while I was like on the bus, I thought I was just on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna post this on Facebook.
Yeah.
Y'all never believe what happened, friends.
Yeah.
I would get like a few hundred likes, and people are like, it was funny. So then I think it was later on that night. I think it was the next day, later on that night. Somebody tags me, and I'm like, all right, what is this? STV had posted it, and just like, oh, it's suspicious, not suspicious, something. It was man stops American tourist from doing
American
stuff.
tourist.
Okay, so I've lived here. That's 16, 17 years by this point.
That's
So,
sensationalism for you, isn't it?
Well, yeah. So STV have like got in touch with me, and I'm speaking to them, and they're like, I'm like, cool. I'll give you like my side of the story, but I'm only doing it if you keep that guy's side of the story like the same. Don't change anything. And they were like, oh, well, like, we can't do that because that guy's side of the story made him look like a complete fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And they're like, we can't because I'm like, but that's here's what happened in my event, kind of thing. I kind of get the guy for where I was sitting. The guy could have just been like, oh, like, what are you doing? If he was curious, I guess, you're told not to disturb or do whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we're on a bus. If you think you're about to die, like, what's the odds of just being like, hey, like, stop the jumper, just go, what's up, man? Whatever. But that's just me. Yeah. So STV, and I'm speaking to them, and they're just like, no, we can't. I'm like, well, you like, and I think I left it for a day because a guy phoned me. I'm speaking to, and I'm like, well, that's just bad journalism, isn't it? Like, if you're just gonna completely change somebody,
That's lying.
and then so I found out how it happened. So basically, the guy who stopped the bus, he went home to STV and wrote like a big hero story.
Oh.
And emailed them a big hero story that he stopped,
What a guy.
American tourist with an olive complexion. Yeah. Yes, the word
That's
olive
sinister.
was used.
So basically, a
That's-
racist wants a
that's-
pat in the back.
That's
Yeah.
the pip. That is the pip right there. Olive. Yeah, he stopped somebody from blowing up the X-77. That somebody happened to be me. Said it happened on, call it the Friday. By the Monday, because it like went kind of viral, It was in like Lad Bible, but they had to take it off because that many people were putting like horrible things. I ended up. It wasn't the Ayrshire Post. Ayrshire Post is actually my favorite one because I am American. And it's like my mom's side of the family is Scottish, so it makes me like Scottish Irish. And then my father's side of the family is Mexican Native American. So they're like,
Cool.
oh, well, do you like, I'm like, well, I tan well, but this is why. But so somebody got in touch with me for the Ayrshire Post, and I can't remember if it was a Daily Record Ayrshire Post or some kind of thing. Somebody got in touch with me, but then a guy from like a press agency had been like, oh, look, like we want to run your story and take it to all the kind of different little bits. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's like, maybe make you some pennies out of it. I'm like, oh, sweet. So I end up speaking to Daily Mail, Daily Record. It's like, if you want to actually read this story, the Daily Mail one was like, I'm like, I spoke to a person and they actually put what I said, cleaned up and whatever. But I'm like, this is actually,
The Daily Mail was the good one.
Yeah, Daily Mail. Yeah,
surprise.
yeah. But I remember speaking to, I think, the Daily Record guy, and I could just hear him being like, and this. I'm like, okay, cool, man. But because of this happened, I had to message back, say like, Ayrshire Post, and be like, sorry, but like a press agency is taking this, so I have to send you through this. Next thing I see, like, this is when I learned that if you post anything on Facebook, they like people can use it.
It's public.
It's public. So I didn't know about that. Me and Danny had went out and taken some photos. He took some photos for me. Number 73. Check it. So and it showed up, and it's just like, it was a picture from my Facebook. I think I had a good bit of a page, and next to it was just like a speech bubble that said like Mexican Scottish with fake e-cigarette. I'm like, all right, you guys aren't fucking spiteful at all, are you? Because it was not fake. I feel like the Daily Record one was again just like a big Mexican Scot, like that was
the angle.
Yeah, that was the angle. And I mean, I was in the sun, but I was like a very, very small kind of little
Topless
bit.
beach shot.
Yeah, I thought, while I'm here. Yeah, I can think. I made it into some things.
And the butterscotch bomber, that was
the butterscotch bomber thing came from, because the STV guy was just like, no. So I had, every time I emailed him back, I'd put a different signature.
All right, okay.
I was just being a wido because I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, you're sincerely the butterscotch bomber. I think it was my brother. My brother was he coined that.
It's a good one.
But yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It left me as labeled a terrorist briefly, because I would see like people at different points within the next like year or two, and somebody would be like, "Oh, that bus thing, huh?" Yeah, that happened. So I get really close, really loud.
Well, yeah.
I don't know what that one does, but.
On that note, we should wrap up a wee chin here. But yeah, thank you very much for making it all the way down and all your chat. It was really appreciated.
No, thank you guys for having me. God knows what we've talked about for the last hour and a half.
I think we've gone. This has gone 2
this
hours
is the
or so.
longest one by far.
2 hours. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Quick and very important thanks
This is-
to David Allen, who just soundboarded an applause for himself. Danny Bray from Number 73 Media providing the lighting and the black magic camera, and Lee for the co-op. Cool. Cheers.
Thank you all. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, guys.